You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike Podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology Podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me. Well, hi, Murph.
Hey, AP. I am coming to you from the sunny state of Texas today.
Well, you're awfully clear for being so far away because I'm in Iowa.
I am hanging out with my family for about a week, and it was so joyful to get up and realize that I could walk outside without a jacket, without a sweatshirt. So I'm sorry to brag about it, but it's pretty nice here.
You go ahead, because I walked out of my house without a coat today too, although I immediately regretted it. But
I regret. Oh, go ahead.
40 degrees is hot in Iowa, so.
Yeah, you're right. And I did not. I flew down here, or I was on a plane. I guess I didn't actually fly, but I was on a plane, and so I didn't bring a bicycle, which is a bummer. But there's a Peloton here where I'm staying, so I will probably get some miles in so I can keep my streak alive, getting some training miles in for RAGBRAI.
Yeah, you better, because, we work real hard for that streak on our training. So
I know. Yeah. I don't know that we've actually talked about this on the podcast, but a couple of weeks ago, you got to go check out all the overnight towns. Is that true?
That's right. So the whole RAGBRAI team, minus one of us who was sick, but everyone else was able to go and visit all of 8 of the overnight towns for RAGBRAI 53. So this is kind of our first time. I mean, you and I met someone from each of the towns at the route announcement, but this is the first time by and large that we've been able to really talk to the towns and meet everyone and just kind of see the lay of the land in each of the different locations that we'll be.
Right. Because I'm assuming, there were probably like the officials that knew ahead of time. But for the most part, the town was probably like, oh my gosh, RAGBRAI's coming to see us. So they've got to they have 6 months to get ready for us. Yeah.
The attitudes of the towns were all super positive and excited, but some were nervous, some had a lot of questions. And then it ranged all the way to some that were extremely prepared and ready to launch their logo any day now.
Oh,
and,
wow.
So it's a big range of different preparedness, but it's not a competition. Each of them is working on different things to get started. And it's been really interesting just to see. I've never been on the first visit out of the gate. So it's fun to see just sort of how they form their committees and what they decide to work on first. And, all the different exciting things that they have in store already for the riders.
Yeah. I noticed that when you're doing social media posts, you've started sharing that some of them have Facebook pages already.
Yeah. They're all getting started. They'll all have their pages out really soon, but some of them already have them. I know Guthrie Center has one. I know Dyersville and Dubuque and Independence all have one. Mm-hmm. And then some of the other towns are posting from their city pages right now, and they'll be switching over to RAGBRAI very soon.
Oh, okay.
So,
awesome. This is so exciting.
I know.
So exciting.
And for those of you who were not on our Zwift ride, I have to say, I found the Teddy Roosevelt statue in Boone, and I FaceTime Murph from the statue because I was so excited.
Yes, you did. And it's huge. The statue is huge.
It's very large. And it's not his whole body. I was expecting his whole body, but it's sort of like his torso. Mm-hmm. But it's sort of a commanding presence in the middle of a Frisbee golf park. But
I was like, where is it? Is it it's in a park. So it's in an open space?
It's a beautiful park. Very shady. It may or may not be one of the campgrounds on the ride. I was traveling with our ops team, so in the car. So we went and scouted out a whole bunch of different possible campgrounds, although nothing is set in stone and it's totally up to the town. So, we were just sort of seeing what could be. And the other interesting thing about the route that I discovered with traveling with the campground crew is that there are a lot of racetracks on this route, all sorts of dirt tracks. Yeah. So I suspect at least one of the towns will have a race car theme. If not, there'll be a theme by default because there's a lot of cars and there's a lot of, I hope I get to ride my bike on one of those tracks. That's all I want.
We did that a couple of years ago on pre-ride. Remember that?
Yeah, it was so fun.
It was not fun. It was so dangerous. It was so scary.
Well, the one in Primgar, wasn't it Primgar that had this figure 8 dirt track? Yeah, and it was so bumpy you could hardly ride. But then other times we've ridden on, like Donaldson has a dirt track that we rode on that wasn't that bad. It just kind of depends. Yeah.
Sure. Well, stay tuned for all of that.
Yeah.
My wish, I would love to be able to, go along with you guys on a scouting trip, to the overnight towns at some point.
Well, I think your wish is going to come true.
What? Wait, what?
That's right. Murph and I are going to travel to the overnight towns and talk about the podcast, talk about marketing, and a couple other things. But I think you just might get a couple podcasts out of us about our trip.
Oh, we should definitely podcast. We should probably podcast, like do a little segment every day. But I don't know. Listeners, stay tuned. We'll definitely be like giving you guys an overview of what we see in the beginning stages, because we all do the daily podcast in June, but this is like super sneak peek.
Yeah, this is from the get-go. I'm excited. Yeah. And the towns are all so passionate, and I've been getting questions from them already, which means they're working on it. They're doing a good job, and they're excited. So can't wait to show you already what they've been working on.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of passionate, on today's episode, we have Andy Gould, which you and I both know, but he's the COO at Bike New York. So what do you know about Bike New York?
Well, Bike New York is an organization obviously from New York, and they're really well known within the bike director and like operations community because they're a huge ride. It's massively complicated to pull off, and they always do. And I just know they take like 20 or 30,000 people for their main 5 borough tour ride through the 5 boroughs of New York. But yeah, they do all sorts of cool stuff for cycling in New York.
Yeah. And so Bike New York in itself is a nonprofit. So it's kind of like, any other state, like the Iowa Bicycle Coalition, or like I know we know Andy in San Diego.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So they do like the bike education and all the different programs and teaching kids and adults how to ride their bikes and the whole safety aspect, which I think that in itself is quite a feat. I mean, New York is not a small state.
Yeah, and in 2020 alone, they taught bike skills to more than 30,000 New Yorkers. So,
wow.
I mean, they're taking a big chunk out of the city, although I'm sure it's just a drop in a bucket. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so now getting into the actual event, that one of the events that Bike New York does is called the Five Boro Bike Tour. And I found this to be so cool that it started way back in 1977. And the story is kind of like the start of RAGBRAI. Do you want to share it?
Yeah. So way back, this is just my understanding because obviously I wasn't there and I wasn't alive yet. But in 1977, the American Youth Hostels and the New York City Board of Education started a high school training program that sort of culminated in a challenge of 50 students who were asked to pedal through all 5 of the boroughs of New York in a single day. So then it was called the 5 Boro Bike Tour, or at that time known as the 5 Borough Challenge. So 50 students and a total of 250 riders. But every year since then, on the first Sunday of May, they welcome, now it's blossomed to being about 32,000 cyclists from every state in the U.S., more than 60 countries, all around the world. And so they come and take a look at the Big Apple.
Yeah, and it's an amazing feat because if you're going to take 30,000 cyclists, it's not like you can find rural roads in New York City.
Yeah.
You've got to shut down. I mean, I got to do it several years ago. I think I've talked about it a couple times. But they closed down interstates so that all of us can ride our bikes down interstates and over all the cool bridges. So it's a great event. Andy has so much passion for it. So let's take a listen to what he has to tell us about Bike New York.
Bring it on.
Well, hey there. Welcome, everybody. Andy Gould is on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Andy, you are the COO of an organization called Bike New York, which should be pretty easy to understand what it represents. Am I right?
Yeah, we are a nonprofit organization in New York City, and our mission is to help New Yorkers transform their lives and communities through cycling.
Ah, okay. And it right away, the thing I think of when I think of biking in New York is Mr. Nelson Vales, who has been a longtime RAGBRAI rider, also an Olympic athlete, and he was a bike messenger way back when in New York City, and he always tells the best stories.
Well, I love Nelly. We go back a ways. Back when I was the deputy sports commissioner for New York City, and we were bidding for the 2012 Olympic Games, Nelson was one of our circle of Olympians. And so great guy. So I've spent a bunch of time with him and just rode 3 days of RAGBRAI with him in 2025. It was awesome.
Okay, so you must live in New York, or at least in the area, but tell the listeners maybe a little bit more specifics on what the cycling culture is really like there.
Sure. Well, I live in a small community in Westchester County, which is north of New York City, and about 30 miles into Manhattan. And the cycling culture in New York City is amazing. And I doubt that most of your listeners realize how robust the culture is. But you have people who daily are commuting using the City Bike bike share program, which is the largest in the country and may actually be the largest in the world.
Oh, wow.
And so there are people who are really using bikes to get around, right? But then you have hundreds of New Yorkers on a daily basis. You can find them in Central Park, or you can find them in Prospect Park doing laps. And you can see on the weekends, even during the weekdays, people biking across the George Washington Bridge, across the Hudson into New Jersey, and then generally heading north up into Rockland County, New York, because the riding around this area is not all urban riding.
Okay.
So obviously we've got plenty of urban riding, but right outside the city, there's great gravel riding, there's good mountain bike riding, and excellent road biking.
So you could come to New York, find an Airbnb, and then explore by bicycle in so many different ways.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could look, you're coming in, you're going to hit a couple Broadway shows maybe, but then you want to do a bike ride. And one of the beautiful things about this area is that we live really close to the Empire State Trail, which runs from New York City to the Canadian border. It's 750 miles. And most of it is formerly rails. So it's a rail trail. And a lot of New Yorkers they'll bike all the way up the Empire State Trail, and you can catch it in the Bronx, just north of Van Cortlandt Park. And you can bike all the way to Poughkeepsie, New York, and hop the Metro North commuter rail line back to the city, and you've done a 100-mile ride.
Oh, wow.
And in October, I did one not from the city, but from Westchester, biked north of Poughkeepsie, looped back to Poughkeepsie, and hopped the train back to my town that's on the Metro North line. And so I did a solo 100-mile ride, which is great. And again, I think it just highlights the rich cycling opportunities that are here. I mean, we have spectacular beauty. You can get up into the Catskill Mountains for some serious hills, but it's an area with lots of beautiful views. You've got the Hudson River, you've got tremendous number of lakes, and the New York City reservoir system that provides potable drinking water to the city. The biking around that area is great. And even just where I live, I mean, there's so many hills. It's great. It's a beautiful place to ride.
I wrote down investigate more on the Empire State Trail because I am super intrigued by that, especially when you've got like hundreds and hundreds of miles to explore.
Oh yeah, it really is spectacular, and along the way you've got cafes, and you can take a pit stop. If you need a bike repair, there are some bike shops that are just off the trail, at least the parts of the trail that I've been able to explore already. But it's really fantastic.
And so I can already feel the passion that you feel for cycling in general and for getting more people on bikes. And you work at Bike New York. So tell us a little bit about you, like maybe if you've got a long biking background, or I don't know, let's hear it.
Well, I actually spent 11 incredible years as the deputy sports commissioner for New York City.
Oh, wow.
And worked with Ken Podziba, my friend, who is the CEO of Bike New York. And when Ken left to take over Bike New York, I stayed for one more year during the Bloomberg administration to run the sports commission. And then Ken recruited me to come over to Bike New York because he knew that I really appreciated the mission of Bike New York, and I had already done the Five Boro Bike Tour twice while I was the deputy sports commissioner. And I wouldn't say I was an avid cyclist, but I've always had a bike, from the day when my dad got me out in the street and I yelled at him to let go. And and I went along my merry way. And then I went to college at UC Santa Barbara that has like a really wonderful biking culture there. You got to class by bike. I mean, every day I rode my bike to class, but I would never say I was an avid cyclist. But then I was a competitive runner, ran college track, and then got to Bike New York, and I had already started biking a little bit more, but then I invested in a really good road bike and just started increasing my miles. And then with COVID, it was, if you're not commuting an hour each day, there's a lot more that you can do. So I just started riding a lot. And this past year, I did just over 2,500 miles. So I am definitely an avid cyclist. And I've really been fortunate to be at Bike New York during a period of time where we really took it from a mom and pop organization that was doing good work with the Five Boro Bike Tour, but we've expanded it so much. Our education programs are so much more robust. The Five Boro Bike Tour is a much bigger. The numbers are similar in terms of capacity,
right,
but it's just got a bigger reach than it did, and I'm really excited for what the future is.
And I want to get more into Bike New York and kind of, how it came to be, especially now that it's blossomed as big as it is now. But since this is a podcast that's specific to RAGBRAI, I already know the answer to this, but have you ever done RAGBRAI?
I have. So RAGBRAI and Bike New York have a terrific partnership with Primalware. So for years, Dave Edwards, the CEO of Primalware, has invited me to come participate. And every year I really wanted to go, but I always had dad duties and mainly going to soccer tournaments and camps. And so now that my kids are in college, I had the opportunity and I jumped at it. And I was totally blown away by the experience. The way in which Iowans embraced the event. Like, I knew that there was the tent village, but I didn't know that people open up their homes for home visit, home
like
stays.
Stranger to stranger.
And people are allowing strangers to camp in their yards. And, as we were biking the first day, just starting out, seeing people along the road who've set up and they're willing to give a free bottle of water, or if it's really hot, they've got a sprinkler out there and you can get wet, and whatever slippery slides people had in their yards or whatever for people. It was just really beautiful. I don't know how else to put it, but I liked it so much that during the winter right now, I've been doing a virtual RAGBRAI because a guy who rode in 2025 has posted his rides on a virtual platform called Full Gas. And so I think today, if I ride, I will finish day 2. Or excuse
Really?
me, not day 2. Excuse me, day 4.
Yeah.
So I only rode the first 3 days, and I kept looking to see if I would get passed by the Team Primal Peloton or Paceline,
Yeah.
and like, oh my God, I just passed myself. And but I didn't see the group until day 4, and then the pink blur went by me, and I think that's the day when they were wearing their Team Jessica
Oh,
jersey
yeah.
for Scott Olson's wife.
Wife, right.
So anyway, I just think like that really. I mean, the fact that I'm spending my time doing it again, I really did love it, and hope to be able to come back out and do maybe the full 7 days in 2026.
Oh my gosh, we would love to have you back for sure. And
that would be a blast.
And we need to give a little bit bigger shout out to Primal Wear. For people that maybe don't know, Primal Wear is a cycling apparel company, and they are the official jersey of RAGBRAI. And I think they're. Go ahead.
They're our official cycling apparel partner. But in 2025, they took a big step up. They now actually run our entire merchandise program.
Oh wow!
So not only at our events, but also our online presence. So if someone were to go online today and to the Bike New York shop, Primal is managing that.
Okay.
And so it was year 1 was great, and I have no doubt that the next few years we're going to definitely realize more revenue from that partnership, which is exciting for a nonprofit that has to continually find new streams of revenue to fund all of our programming.
Right. And overall, just a great group of people. I absolutely love
the best
hanging out with the Primal Wear gang during RAGBRAI, after RAGBRAI. You know, they did hang with us at the route announcement party here in Iowa. So it was awesome.
Yeah, no, they're terrific. And again, when I was there, I was welcomed into the Team Primal group with no problem. I had never really biked in a Paceline that way, and I learned on the go and managed to hang with everybody. So it was great. But the staff from Primal is the best. Whether it's the folks that we're working with just to design apparel, if it's the marketing people, whether it's Tim, Jessica, Chelsea, they're all Cole. They're just terrific, and
right.
we feel blessed to have such a great partnership with them.
Right, I agree. Okay, so let's get into Bike New York. You mentioned it was a nonprofit. I'm assuming it's been around a long time because the Five Boro ride has been around for a long time. But give us the scoop on whatever you want to share about Bike New York.
Sure. Well, so. The tour actually predates the creation of Bike New York because the tour was founded in 1977 by the American Youth Hostel and the New York City Department of Education, and that then turned into the Five Boro Bike Tour. And so in 2000, I think it was 2000. The youth hostel decided they didn't want to run it anymore. And so what spun off was an organization called Bike New York. And then in 2005, the organization added a bicycle education program. And the director of that is a guy named Rich Conroy. He started it in 2005, and he's still with us today.
Wow.
And he's really probably the preeminent bike educator in the country. So we're very lucky to have him. And we run our programs through 11 community bicycle education centers. So those centers are shipping containers that are largely in city parks. So the city parks provide us the space for free. We bring in the shipping container. The container houses 35 bikes, helmets, other equipment. And then from there, we're able to run a majority of our programming. All of our public programming is run from there. We run summer camp programs, after school programs. Then we do have sort of the basic kids learn to ride classes, and those are bring your own bike. And we can do those in partnership with just about any organization, so that they pop up in different locations around the city. And then we have what we call public programs. And so that's our adult classes will happen at the bike ed centers. And an interesting fact about our adult learn to ride classes, more than 75% of the students are women.
Really?
And we really think that's super cool. What we're hopeful is that as that number, it seems to be pretty consistent, that we can then get them moving into doing the Five Boro Bike Tour. Because in general, the tour tends to be 35% women. So our goal is to get it closer to 50-50.
Sure.
But we are really very proud of the education programs. And just to give you a sense of how big it is, in 2025 we offered 549 classes and various programs, and it reached nearly 11,000 people.
Wow.
And pre-COVID it was even bigger, so we're just still trying to catch up to where we were, but we're really proud of those numbers. And then this year we were tracking the miles that students rode, and they rode over 9,230 miles, which is the equivalent of 231 Five Boro Bike Tours and riding across the country 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
So it's pretty cool. And we're constantly looking at how can we make the experience better. And also, like, how can we stay connected with people longer, so that once they finish courses with us, that they keep coming back for more advanced classes. We're looking at we've got a fledgling youth cycling club. So we're slowly doing that, and just trying to keep people more engaged.
Like when I think about, like maybe you or I, when we were kids, the world was so different, meaning I bet you I did most of my miles on gravel roads, wearing no helmet, on probably a single speed bicycle, didn't think anything of it because that was the only option. And there was also so much less traffic. So I love that you have the programming available and in all different places within the city, because that's what builds confidence, is for an instructor to say, here's how you do this, and now we're going to do it together.
And what we do, like in the summer camp programs, so it's not that we have a summer camp. The summer camps bring their kids to us.
Oh, okay.
So it's programming that summer camps are offering their kids, and they'll bring their kids to us. We get a sense of what kids can handle, and they'll start going on field trips. So they're riding in the streets. Once our instructors know that they're capable, we get them out of the park and we get them out in real life in New York City. And so it's really very cool. And even like the after school programs as well. And we find sometimes kids, I think that you and I, who didn't grow up in a big city, probably take for granted that you're traveling around to get to different things, but these kids, they stay within a certain radius of their neighborhoods usually. And so sometimes a field trip that we run, and let's just say we take them from Queens into Brooklyn, we've had kids who've never been to Brooklyn who are growing up in Queens, or if we bike into Manhattan. So it's opening up the kids to more than just their neighborhoods, and realizing that, wow, a bike, this could help my family. Like I could bike down to the grocery store and pick up, milk and cereal and stuff. I could bike to a job and not have to pay for the subway, because we unfortunately in New York City, even though it's the greatest city on earth, we do have some transportation deserts where the subway system doesn't reach certain communities.
Oh, okay.
So biking is important in those communities, and so how does that person get to the subway? So maybe biking is cheaper for that family than the kid getting on a bus. So we're giving people a tool that can not only be used for physical fitness, which is important because we do have a childhood obesity crisis in New York City, an early onset of diabetes. So cycling is the answer for a lot of these problems. And we're just trying to do as much as we can to make it easier and break down those barriers, so to get more people in New York City riding.
What's your website in case people are hearing you and like want to just check out some of these programs and education you offer? It's
bike.nyc, just www.bike.nyc.
Easy enough. Wow. Okay. And so when you're at that website, one of the biggest things that I know about with Bike New York is the Five Boro Bike Tour. And I was lucky enough to participate in it. This was several years ago, and it was definitely it's a memorable experience. It was the biggest group of bicyclists I've ever seen in my life. And that's saying a lot because I've done RAGBRAI so many times, but it was an amazing experience. So can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah. And before I talk about the Five Boro Bike Tour, there was one other thing that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Through because we have so many programs, but through Recycle a Bicycle, which is it's a bike shop where people donate their used bikes, we refurbish them, and we can sell them at a rate that is more affordable for New Yorkers who may not be able to afford it. But we have a variety of programs that we run from there. And the one that we're most proud of is called Bike Path. And Bike Path is a program, it's a workforce development program where we train formerly incarcerated people to become bike mechanics.
Oh.
And after they finish our program, they're guaranteed an interview with Motivate, which is the company that oversees New York City's bike share program, City Bike. So they automatically have a job. They go in, we prep them for the interview process. Our last cohort, 100% of the 58 students were hired by Motivate.
Oh, wow.
They get a really good wage. It's I think it's $27.75 an hour, and they get benefits. They ultimately will have an opportunity if they stay to join. I think there's a union. I guess the exciting part is that unlike a lot of other workforce development programs, there's a job waiting for them.
Right.
Literally, there's a job. And the other thing that we've found with this program is our students are retained. Their retention rate at City Bike is much greater than the average bike mechanic hired by Motivate for that program. So that's really wonderful. And some of our graduates have been promoted into leadership roles already, including lead mechanics, supervisors. So it's kind of it's really heartwarming. And some of these folks, it's the first real job they've had. Like we had one, in the most recent cohort, this one young man who was 16, I think, when he was incarcerated. He basically said, "This is my first real job," and he was in prison for 18 years.
Wow! And to be able to come out of that, you're a grown adult, and you're going to start learning new skills, and you get out of your program, and now they've learned that they can be bike mechanics. I think that's cool in itself.
And he really just talked about how he wasn't going to waste this shot. And another guy said that his kids look at him so proudly now, and he didn't feel that before. And so it's really a wonderful program.
Yeah. What's it called again?
It's called Bike Path.
Okay.
And I'll send you a link to a video that's really quite amazing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, the Five Boro Bike Tour is May 3rd, 2026. It's the largest single-day cycling event in the United States. It's the largest charitable bike ride in the world. We have riders from all 50 states. Usually, we've got international riders from anywhere from 30 to 42 different countries. It is just an incredible event, as you know. I mean, you've done it.
Yeah. You have to say how many cyclists are on the road.
32,000.
32,000.
Yeah.
Like that's...
And it's just a sight to be seen. I mean, we have 5 start waves because we've got 32,000 riders to get past the starting line. But the event starts in Tribeca, heads north through Manhattan into Central Park. It goes briefly into the Bronx, and then we're back into Manhattan, over to Queens, into Brooklyn, and then into Staten Island, where the Finish Festival is. But it's this will be the 48th edition, and it's a huge undertaking. I mean, the logistics of the tour are amazing. And I'm sure the logistics for RAGBRAI are incredible because of all the municipalities that you have to deal with, the local police, et cetera. But, in our case, we have a great partner in the New York City Department of Transportation. They're the co-producer of the event. But we have to work closely with DOT, but we also are working closely with the NYPD and with the mayor's office. But on top of that, because it's a global event and it's New York City, we have to work with Homeland Security, FBI, Coast Guard, and other agencies. And before the Boston Marathon bombing, we would have communications with them, but it wasn't as in-depth as it is post Boston Marathon bombing. So that takes up a lot of time. I think our events team does an unbelievable job, and we're closing streets. We have to manage. We've got 15 full-time employees, but for the tour, we have to accordion out. So we've got a lot of pre-event planning where we bring in freelancers to work with us. Then we've got day of folks that we bring in, and then on top of that, you have to layer in nearly 2,000 volunteers to make the whole thing work efficiently. We've got a partnership with Jamaica Hospital for years where we're working with them on the health and safety plan for the riders. So if there's a crash, what happens? I'm working with the EMS. We do work with FDNY. So there are many, many moving parts to this. Besides the bicycles, and it's really well coordinated, and our Devin DeLucia and Aldo Barahona run it. There are 2 co-event directors, so they do just an awesome job. I'm really proud of them.
And give us It's hard to visualize what it means to have 32,000 people, because a typical day of RAGBRAI, let's just say it's 15,000 people, and they're spread out over maybe 60, 70, 80 miles, and it's mostly rural. But you're talking New York, right, where it's extremely populated. You've got interstates everywhere. I'm assuming, just like on RAGBRAI, putting cars and cyclists on the road at the same time isn't ideal. So give us just a high level visual of what it looks like.
Well, first off, there are no cars on the route.
Amazing.
The route is closed to vehicles. there are at times some where riders are stopped so that the police can get some crosstown buses through in Manhattan. But there are no cars. When you're biking on the FDR Drive, there are no cars going in the direction that you're traveling in. When you cross the same goes for all the bridges. It's the only time of the year that you can ride your bike on the Brooklyn Queens Expressway.
Yeah.
So again, you'll be riding on the we refer to it as the BQE. You're on the BQE and you see all the traffic going in the opposite direction, but you're just with 32,000 of your friends, and and then the last bridge crossing is the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, which is really long. It connects Brooklyn to Staten Island. And the only day of the year that you can bike on the bridge is on the first Sunday in May for the Five Boro Bike Tour. So that's really cool. But I think something else that maybe will give the listeners an understanding of the sheer size is it takes about 4 hours for the from the start until the tail of the event crosses the start line.
No way.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing, right?
Wow. Okay. In the year that I did it, which may still be the case, but everybody had a cover on their helmet.
Yes.
And that in itself, the visual was just overwhelmingly cool because everyone looks the same.
Yeah. And I actually have this year's sample in my hand.
Oh.
And
if only we had a video, right?
I know, right? Well, it's really cool. I think people will really like it. And so we decided to go with this because it was becoming harder to know, because unfortunately we do get people who try to jump in, and we try to keep them out. So we have what we call a rider identification kit, which is pretty standard for all cycling and running events, but so a bib number, bike plate, but we did the helmet cover as another visual to know that somebody is supposed to be there.
Right.
But also that photo is really awesome. When you see, if you're up on the lift at the start line, looking out, looking south at all of the riders, you just see the helmet covers.
I can't imagine.
So,
I can.
It's so cool.
I've seen it online. It's just so cool.
it is really great. I think each year more and more New Yorkers come out along the route also to cheer people on. It's not like the marathon, but it's getting there where more and more people are out there and they love to see it. And an interesting side note is about 6 years ago, a woman was in New York City visiting from Japan, and she walks out of her hotel. She's like, oh my God, what are all these cyclists doing?
Right.
She learns about the Five Boro Bike Tour. Well, she's now the governor of Tokyo.
What?
And she decided, or maybe she was even then, I think she might have been the governor at that moment. And she decided that she wanted to bring something like that to Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
So as a result, recently we were in Tokyo to formalize a friendship agreement with them to help them with their event that they've already launched, which is the Rainbow Bridges Ride, and it's the Grand Cycling Tokyo. And so we got to participate in the event, but also to sign this agreement. So it's just another example of how the tour has a global reach.
Right.
We also have a partnership with a umbrella organization called Formula Bici in Italy, where they have their top mass participation events. So we're doing some shared marketing and collaborating on a few different things. And then there's another event in Italy that's a little bit smaller, and it's not part of that group, which is called Prosecco Cycling. And that partnership is really tied to sustainability and making cycling events more sustainable. And the Five Boro Bike Tour was the first large-scale sporting event in New York City deemed sustainable by the Council for Responsible Sport. So we're really proud of that as well.
That had to have been an enormous undertaking.
It was,
Yeah.
we were already doing certain things, but the council has certain standards that you have to meet, and they have different status. And we, the first year we got their basic status, and then we were a little bit more advanced. I think we're coming up for another review probably, but that's a proud moment. And then as a result, some other events have been looking at becoming sustainable based on those guidelines. So we're having an impact, and I think the other thing that's cool for the tour, which I noticed that RAGBRAI has like a youth component. There was a team I kept seeing, and I forget what they were called, but we have youth ambassadors every year that come through our education programs.
Okay.
And we usually have a group of adult ambassadors as well that have come through our programs, because we want them to see that the participating in a 40-mile bike ride is not insurmountable, that you can train and get there and do it, and it's so rewarding. And these kids love it. Initially they're like, oh my God, I don't think I can do it.
Yeah.
But they can, and it's a wonderful thing to see. And again, 40 miles is a challenge for some people, but it's not insurmountable.
Right. And the event itself is part of Bike New York, so that means it's a nonprofit event, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow,
So the money that we raise through the Five Boro Bike Tour helps support our free bicycle education programs. It's given our growth. It's not, and also the growing expenses for doing events. It's not possible for the tour to cover all of our expenses. So, but we have a development director now who is building a traditional nonprofit fundraising model to help us get individual donors, foundation donors, potentially some government funding for our programming, because as we get bigger, we need to be able to fund more programs.
Sure.
And so that's a really cool part. And that's why the partnership with Primal and building our merchandise sales is important, because the more money we can generate from that, the more we have to offer more free programming.
Yeah. Okay, so people listening that maybe don't live in New York, they want to come to New York, do the Five Boro Bike Tour. A, is registration open? And B, have you sold out?
Registration is open. We have not sold out. We will sell out. So would be a good idea for people to register as soon as possible. Look, you come to New York for the Five Boro Bike Tour. It's not just the tour. You're coming to New York City, so you can go see a Broadway show. If museums are your thing, you can go to a museum or two. If you're a real foodie, you're going to have numerous opportunities to go and have whatever kind of food you love. We've got, and that's one of the things with the Finish Festival. We try to have an international food court at the Finish Festival, just to highlight the diversity of New York City and everything that New York City stands for. And the tour itself, when you look at all the people participating, is truly the most diverse cycling event probably in the world, certainly in the country.
Yeah.
And we're really proud of that.
And I would highly recommend this tour because it's just so cool. And like one of my high anxiety points before I got there was figuring out how to get from my hotel to the actual event. And it ended up being like one of the easiest parts of the trip because you leave your hotel, there was a bike lane right there. It was so easy.
It is. I'd have to say it's similar. In the morning of the New York City Marathon, people know that the tour is going to happen.
Yeah.
So there aren't a lot of cars on the road, even before the route, the event starts. So lots of people will come into New York from some of the suburbs by train, and they bike down from Grand Central Terminal. And it's really just a wave of cyclists biking. You don't even necessarily have to be specifically in a bike lane, but it's great. I still remember my first tour. At the time, I lived on Broadway and 105th Street on the west side, and had to bike all the way down to Tribeca to the start. My now wife and I just biked on down. And it was the coolest thing because there really was very little traffic.
Yeah.
And, it's a Sunday morning in New York. Sunday mornings are a little bit slower than the other days of the week. So that's great. So like if somebody's afraid of that, like you experienced, Murph, it in some ways is an amazing experience because you're pretty free heading on down.
Right.
And then you start seeing more and more people, right, congregating and getting ready, and that energy builds up.
It was amazing. I can't speak enough about it. It was awesome. And just to see that many people biking was just crazy.
It's a celebration.
Yeah.
And I think it's an opportunity. For some people, it's a bucket list thing,
Sure.
right? They're like, oh, I'm going to come to New York. I might as well try this. For others, we've got plenty of people who come year over year.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's a gentleman from California that's going to be coming out. He will be, I think for this year's event, he's going to be 84 or 85, and this will be his 24th tour.
Wow.
And he basically told us he's doing it until he can no longer do it.
Yeah.
And he comes with family and friends join him because he was born and raised in New York City, and just feels that connection. So you get a lot of people who will do it year over year, which we love.
Yeah. Okay, so the date is May 3rd, 2026. And like Andy said, if it's something you're considering doing, there is a price increase that takes place very quickly, coming right up here. So tell us again the website, and if there's anything else you want to share before we cut it off.
Sure. Well, I want to do a little shout out to our title sponsor, TD. They've been a fantastic partner for 19 years, and we love having them with us. And then we have a whole host of other fantastic sponsors that make the whole thing possible. And we're greatly appreciative of all of them, including our presenting sponsor, Manhattan Portage. And then I would just add, just come on out, don't be afraid in New York City. It is wonderful. We might be a little tough at times, but we New Yorkers love to see people visiting our city and taking advantage of what really is one of the country's great events. And I can't encourage you more. And just remember, if you want information about the Five Boro Bike Tour, Bike New York, and all the programs that we do, just visit www.bike.nyc. And we hope to see you in New York City in May.
Excellent. And Andy, we will all for sure see you in July in Iowa.
That'll be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and talking about New York and the great biking that happens there.
Thanks, Murph. And congratulations to you and Andrea on your podcast. Keep doing great work.
Thank you.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
just go bike.
Theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.